This is day in the life of Japanese knife maker.
Today, I'm in Kagoshima Prefecture in the Kyushu area in Japan. This is a place famous for its magnificent nature. Kaseda City, once living with knife and seku blacksmith, so around 300 workshops disappear with time. Now, only one person remains to carry on this traditional craft. Today, I would like to introduce the last craftsman to carry on this traditional craft. This is Norito, a 75 years old Japanese knife craftsman. He makes traditional Kaseda knives in this workplace. There are 10 steps in the knife making process, and this video will show you the process he goes through to make the knife. Before Norito starts making knives, he first makes some preparation. The charcoal used to heat the raw iron is crushed so that it burns easily. Next, the crushed charcoal is placed in the furnace to start a fire. What is this hole?
ここから風が出てくる。この水道で風が出てくるんですよ。引いたら閉まって、
はい。
押したら風が。あっち側が押しても引いても風が出る。
Now it's time to light the fire. First, light a newspaper and place charcoal on it. While waiting for the fire to burn, he checks the operation of the machine.
このベルトハンマーの
はい。
ネジの緩みやらですね。危ないでしょ。
Then he lubricates the machine. The machine runs smoothly. The fire is completely ready. These are the iron materials used to make the knife. This iron material is placed in the fire and heated. The first process in knife making is arazukuri. In this process, hot iron is beaten and stretched many times by machine to form the basic shape. When the iron cools down while being beaten, it is reheated and beaten again. This process is repeated many times to form the shape. Once the shape is formed to some extent, it is shaped by hand. Norito carefully balances the overall shape while shaping it in detail. The second process is hiauchi. The steel is cooled down to and then beaten to increase the strength of the knife. The third process is kenma. This process is used to smooth the corners of the knife. Two different types of electric whetstone with different degree of roughness are used to create the shape.
私は、車会社に勤めとってですね、車の整備とか、販売とか、そういうのをやってたんです。で、60で定年で辞めて、それから61でたまたまここを通った時に、加世田鍛冶がここで体験ができるということを聞いてやっております。
The fourth process is kezuri. At this point in time, the knife is not yet capable of cutting.
まだこれは鋼が出てないし、
はい。
焼きを入れて初めて切れるようになったな。これは焼きが入ってないから研げるわけです。この少し色が違うのが分かりますか？
はい。少しシルバーというか。
このザラザラのあれが
はい。
鋼。グラインダーで削ったら強く削った方は鋼を削ってしまうから、
はい。
切れ味が悪くなったりする可能性があるわけですね。
ああ、そうなんですね。
これはもう鋼が完全に出るのを見てるから、
はい。
左右をな。
はい。
After your experience at the age of 61, Did you start making knives in earnest to carry on this tradition?
そうそう、話聞いたら、これは450何年続いてるって言おったもんだから、
はい。
だからもう、アクネさんがいなくなったら途絶えるんですよ、うち。
はい。
やれとったもんだから、うわー大変ですね、いつ。もったいないですね、いつ。
そうです。
伝統をこう閉ざすわけいかんですよね、いつ。
The fifth process is 泥塗り。
粘土と炭と、別の砥石の粉と。
Do you put this mud on the knife?
そうそう、焼きを入れる前になぜ塗るかというと、
はい。
水に焼いたの、真っ赤に焼いたのをつけると
はい。
泡が出ちゃう、鉄。
あ、出ますね。はい。
泡が出れば焼きが変わるわけでしょ。だから全部塗ってすれば泡が出ないからな。これで均等に焼きがある。刀の模様はな、
はい。
泥の厚みを厚く塗ってしたところが模様が入るわけ。
Why is there no one to carry on this tradition?
これでもう切っていけないですよね。趣味でやってくる人を育てようと思ってな。もしそれじゃないとやっていけないもん。
Is that because there are no buyers today?
相手もだけど売れるまでに相当な年数がかかる。
Roughly how many years does it take?
最高7年はかかるでしょ。
7年ですか。
これなんかもさ、
はい。
下のがもう相当あるんだけど、この半分はもう捨てたんですよ。
Finish putting the mud on the knife, dry the knife by the fire.
これが松杉だ。
In Matsuzumi, the knife is heated to about 800 degrees Celsius and then cooled in water to harden the knife. Matsuzumi is the most suitable for yakiire because it has low sulfur content and does not easily change the properties of the steel. Now it is time for the sixth process, yakiire. The knife is heated to a high temperature, dipped in water, and cooled at once. After a short time, the knife is heated again to about 170 degrees Celsius to make it sticky and resistant to chipping. This channel produces the following three types of videos. The first one is the various interviews related to Japan. The second one is the day in the life of Japanese people. And the last one is how the lives of people from different countries are in Japan. This channel definitely is the best channel to learn more about Japan. If you find this video interesting, don't forget to like and share and subscribe to our channel. Once the knife has cooled down, it is time for the seventh process, Hizumi Naoshi. The knife is checked for slight distortions or scratches and corrected. The eighth process is Arato, which takes place outside the workplace. In order to get the angle of the cutting edge of the knife, he uses a rotary whetstone to roughly shape the knife. He works slowly while carefully assessing the condition of the knife. Next is the shiage kezuri process. In this process, after rough sharpening is completed, knife is sharpened even thinner to make it actually sharp. The last step is done by hand because a knife that has been sharpened too much will not return to its original state. Finally, the last step is etsuke. A new handle is inserted into the knife and the process is complete. Norito cleans up his workspace and finishes making knives today.
また来てください。
Thank you for today. Dari, Japan.